Hello everyone! Yesterday I uploaded the enhancement artifact questline to get our hands on the Doomhammer. During the video I vent a few of my initial thoughts towards the questline, but I thought it would be a good idea to actually sit down and talk about it in greater detail. Keep in mind that this video is mostly going to be about my opinion towards the questline, so don't take this as set in stone. These are some of my thoughts when it comes to the questline. Upon entering the Maelstrom, you get to help out the Shamans of the Earthen Ring by casting either a healing spell, a fire spell, or a lightning spell. This introduction is the same for the Elemental questline, and I assume that it's also going to be the same for the healing questline. Now I get that we need to establish the player as the greatest Shaman ever, but it'd have to be while crippling the other members of the Earthen Ring. It just seems so very weak that these are the greatest Shamans the world has to offer, and they can't even cast a fire spell anymore. Then Thrall says, I was outmatched, the elements were silent, the Doomhammer felt like dead weight, as though I am no longer worthy to wield it. It has grown silent since I used it to slay Garrosh. I cannot allow my own turmoil to jeopardize the work we must do to save the world. I will find my own path back into favor. So it seems like his inner turmoil, his feelings when it comes to taking down Garrosh, that is the thing that prevents him from wielding the elements and makes the Doomhammer feel like a dead weight in his hands. Now part of the problem that I have here is that Orgrim Doomhammer, he was never a shaman and he was perfectly fine with wielding the Doomhammer. He even took out Blackhand and Anduin Lothar. The connection made between the hammer and the elements is part of the recent lore. It was added in the comics for Worlds of Draenor, and it didn't really become that established until Thrall started wielding the Doomhammer. The other part is Thrall's emotions. Garrosh was established as a bad guy. He formed the Iron Horde with the intention of conquering Azeroth. They sacrificed orcs and Draenei to empower the Dark Portal, and who knows what else they did during their time on Draenor. During their grand cinematic, Garrosh dropped some truth at Thrall's feet about how he made him what he was, and then Thrall says,
No, you chose your own destiny.
I thought that this was pretty fitting. Yes, Thrall made some big mistakes, mainly by making Garrosh the war chief, but you can't blame him for everything that he did. I suppose he could have brought back Garrosh alive, he could have used that Earthen Hand to bring back Garrosh alive and put him in a jail, but we went in with the intention of taking Garrosh out. If Thrall didn't step in, would our characters, or Ural or Duratan, have to deal with the same thing that Thrall's dealing with? Now I've seen a few comments from people in which they like the fact that Blizzard is punishing Thrall for cheating during Mak'gora, but I don't think that's the case here. The rules of Mak'gora are not that established, and Garrosh knew full well who he was challenging to Mak'gora when they were fighting.
I challenge you to Mak'gora! Thrall. No. Very well, Shaman.
You wouldn't expect Garrosh to not utilize all of his weapons in a duel, but I think that's missing the point. The story that they're trying to tell is that Thrall feels guilty not for cheating during Mak'gora, but he feels guilty and turmoil about taking down Garrosh. He no longer has the will or the balance, or whatever you want to call it, to properly wield the Doomhammer and the elements. On its own, that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing that Thrall has to deal with emotions of taking down the son of his best friend. But at the same time, it feels very off because they also used Garrosh to start off Warlords of Draenor. He was a bad guy during that expansion. He had to be taken care of. So it's a little bit, you know, it's 50-50. On the one hand, I get that Thrall feels bad about taking down Garrosh. On the other hand, it had to be done. Then we have this line. The Doomhammer chose you, Shaman. Already you wield it with power that I never tapped into. This line feels off to me because all the things that Thrall has done in the past while wielding the Doomhammer. This is the orc that re-established the Horde, faced off against Manoroth, hurt the mighty Archimond, helped the Aspects with taking down Deathwing during the Cataclysm, and so much more. With this line, you place the player in a position where they're greater than Thrall, and when it comes to a character like Thrall, that's saying something, right? Now someone asked, how is that any different from, for example, the Ashbringer? But during the Ashbringer questline, Tyrion actually dies, and you're not told that you're greater than Tyrion, you're told that you're the best pick to take up this charge and be the next in line to be the High Lord. It comes down to making the player base the uber hero in Legion, the same thing as lighting a fire for these established Shamans of the Earthen Ring. On top of that, the Doomhammer has never really been described as having such a strong connection to the elements, not until the comics that they created for Warlords, and even then only its origin seems to have a strong connection to the elements. In the hands of someone like Blackhand or Doomhammer, it was just a hammer. You could say that that's the point, that there was always a connection to Shamanism and the Doomhammer, that it had to fall into the hands of a shaman and then you can only unlock the powers. It's like I said, it just feels weird that a character like Thrall, that has done so many great things, now all of a sudden this random shaman, or in the case of Legion, this uber hero shaman, picks it up and within 10 seconds they unlock powers with the Doomhammer that Thrall never had access to. Like, it's just weird. Finally, there's the dwarf and the line of the orcs had a prophecy about the Doomhammer. It was said that a stranger will raise the hammer high, and with it, justice shall reign. Maybe you were meant to be the stranger all along. Now this on its own is not a big deal, but I also think it's a little bit unnecessary. The original prophecy is the following. The last of the Doomhammer line will use it to first bring salvation and then doom to the orc people. Then it will pass into the hands of one who is not of the Blackrock clan. All will change again, and it will once again be used in the cause of justice. The last of the Doomhammer line was Orgrim Doomhammer, who first brought salvation to his people by liberating them from Gul'dan's control and the corruption of the Legion, and then he brought doom upon them when he chose honor over victory. During the siege of Lordaeron, he decided to send his troops away to chase after Gul'dan. This led to the Horde losing the war, and finally they were imprisoned within internment camps. It then passed into the hands of one who is not of the Blackrock clan, Thrall, as Doomhammer died while they liberated the orcs from the camps. All will change again, and will once again be used in the cause of justice, as in Thrall leading the Horde. That prophecy seems to be fine and fulfilled, right? Now some of you mentioned that they did add a line to it. Honor will be undone, and all will be lost before it is found again. A stranger will raise the hammer high, and with it, justice shall reign. When you search where this line comes from, you'll find that it was added to the World of Warcraft Doomhammer prop replica. So it seems like they added this line to sell more Doomhammers, as in, the one who gives us $300, they will be raised the hammer high, and justice shall reign. Now that we have the dwarf saying it, it means that it's part of the official lore now. On its own, it's not a bad thing. I just think that the original prophecy was fine, it was fulfilled. Whatever, they added a prophecy line to it, so be it. And again, she says maybe. So you can disregard it, or you can go with the whole prophecy line, like you, the shamanistic player, you were always meant to get your hands on the Doomhammer. So those are my thoughts and feelings when it comes to the Doomhammer artifact questline. Like I said, these are just my thoughts and feelings, don't take them as set in stone. I believe that my main problem with the questline is the way that they're establishing the playable character as the uber hero of Legion, something that feels off in many of the other questlines as well. I get that Thrall is feeling inner turmoil for killing Garrosh, and that's the reason why he can't wield the Doomhammer or the elements like he used to. So now he decides to hand it over to the player. That on its own is not a big deal, but then the questline shows how much greater the player is compared to all the other shamans of the Earthen Ring. Like I said, that's not an exclusive problem to this artifact questline. Now my suggestion for improving this would be to change the introduction in such a way that it doesn't make the other shamans look like incompetent fools. Instead of basic tasks like lighting a campfire, have them deal with trying to control a massive tidal wave that's about to flush all of them out of there. Have them deal with a massive volcano that's coming out of the earth and is about to destroy all of them. Something bigger than simply a healing spell or a fire spell or lightning spell. Something that makes it look like you are indeed a very powerful shaman. You can aid the Earthen Ring, but the Earthen Ring itself is not so incompetent that they can't even light a basic campfire. Next to that, instead of using the Garrosh conflict, use the invasion of the Burning Legion for Thrall's motivation to step back and let the players take charge. The orc has a family now, he's been fighting for so many years, he had to take out his best friend's son, and now once again, the Legion is at the doorstep, and the defeat on the Broken Shore, it just shattered his will to fight. He realizes that his family and the Earthen Ring needs him, that his role during Legion would be as an advisor instead of a fighter. When we need him, he'll be there, but for now, he's going to hold down the fort and let us do the fighting. That way, you avoid the dilemma of, was it really that bad to kill Garrosh, and you keep the option open of him wanting the Doomhammer back in the next expansion, or whatever they want to do with the artifacts of the Legion. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, these are just some of my thoughts and feelings towards the questline. I had a lot of messages from you guys and girls, and I thought it would be a good idea to make a video, just explain my initial thoughts and my initial feelings. Let me know what you think about the questline in the comments down below, since I'm sure a lot of you will disagree or will have their own vision when it comes to the questline. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and until next time, guys, see ya!